Cabinet member meeting for Children's Services. The first item on the agenda is the monitoring of Executive Cabinet member decisions, and you have an enclosure. Members got any comments, questions, or queries? No? Then I note this report. Item 2 is the Department of Children's Services Financial Monitoring Report, and Lisa's here to take us through this one. Lisa?
Thank you very much, Chair. So the report in front of you is the final outcome report for the Children's Services for 23-24. Cabinet are asked to note the revenue budget changes, note the financial position of the portfolio after an overspend of circa 15 million before corporate support were given to the department, agreed the contract that Directors Children's Services for agency staff, note the capital programme, and agree that the Director of Children's Services can call off the framework. So I'll just take you through the summary. So the revenue outturn was just over 15 million, and we received as a department in-year corporate demand of £7 million and one-off monies of 2.5 million. So we were still over budget by 6.6 million, and that moved into our reserves for the end of the financial year. For the revenue expenditure for the dedicated school grant, it was £1 million more than the grant itself. Looking at the capital, we had a capital programme of 25 million, and we spent 11 million of that by the year end. And reserves were at 55.7 million pounds as at the 31st of March. Members need to be aware that as at the end of the year, corporate paid 7.14 million against the deficit reserve, so that Children's Services reserves are at 7.14 after receiving the corporate funding to offset the deficit and overspend of 11.25. So we have received quite a lot of corporate support within this department by the end of this financial year, last financial year. Take you through table 1, it shows the adjustments of the budgets, and in table 2.2, you'll see that we have achieved and identified £988,000 of the savings that were required, shown in Appendix A. Table 2 then shows the variances. No surprises that the main one is in the staying safe division. And then you'll go through and you'll be able to see the capital programme and the reserves. And Chair, I am very comfortable to take any questions or queries that you have on this report. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Members, any comments, questions, queries? Anne?
Thank you, Chair. Obviously, I'd have to kind of highlight the massive overspend this financial year. And, each quarter, it's been going up and up and up. And we know, the issues behind it. I see that the looked after children, those figures are not going up. That financial year, they haven't risen. So it's clearly the money spent on placements. And I think, looking at, the detail, it is the children who are, there's quite a big increase in the number of children that are in residential homes outside Bolton. And so I suspect that's where the bulk of the overspend is happening. Do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Anne. Before Lisa comes back, it is concerning. And certainly the demand pressures and the cost of providing the service is really being reflected here. And, so whoever wins this general election, and it doesn't matter who it is, there has to be a better funding formula for not only children's services, but for adult social care. We cannot go on like this. I mean, I think we're up to nearly 60% of the budget now being spent on adult social care and children's, and there will come a time when, I know we are committed to living in a fair and just society, but there will come a time when the general ratepayers out there are saying, well, what am I paying my tax for? you know, and I think we've got to be ready for that when it comes. But hopefully, between then, there will be a better funding formula agreed, because quite clearly there will be more 114 notices going in from local authorities because, quite frankly, they haven't got the funding to continue this level of provision. And it's not unique to Bolton, as you know, Anne, and I know you care deeply about this, but it's across the piece. And that would be the play I would make, and I know you would join me, with the rest of our colleagues in saying to whatever government's in, you know, you really and truthfully have to look at this with urgency, because we cannot go on like this. It's just unsustainable. Lisa, did you want to come back at all?
I was more going to be quite factual in my response, Chair, if that's okay.
Yeah.
We agree that the demand has risen, and the unit costs in the residential homes. We were lucky in the northwest that we were able to keep it as something like 7.5% for the year last year, and that was between the local authorities. I mean, and then there's others who didn't take that rate outside the borough as well. So we are in this really difficult position where we are trying to manage unit costs as well as, you know, keep a balanced budget. And we are put things in place for as a department, looking at demand strategies, sufficiency, all those kind of things. So we do try and manage and mitigate as much of the overspend as possible. But you're correct, the residential unit costs are rising. Thank you.
Yeah. Members, any further comments, questions, queries? Very well. I note the recommendations of the revenue budget changes, note the financial position, agree that the Director of Children's Services has the delegated authority to procure off contract agency for social care staff, note the changes, and agree that the Director of Children's Services has delegated authority to call off on the frameworks for the capital programme as detailed in section 3. Okay, and that concludes our business this morning. So thank you very much, everyone, for attending. And if Deirdre, myself, and Paul and Susan could just stay on, please, that would be great. Thanks very much, everyone.